Hello, hello. Today's topic is you are not selfish, but you should be. What the heck am I talking about? Why did I pick this topic? And what do I mean? Well, growing up in the cult, specifically the Jehovah's Witness, how many times did we hear that accusation? How many times did we hear that word? And it occurred to me that actually being accused of being selfish is cult manipulation. When we what categories, what contexts did we hear selfish in? Well, most of the time it was in an effort to encourage us to do more. That if you were to take Saturday morning and sleep in, that perhaps that was selfish because you should be going out in service. You should be preaching. You should be studying. You should be doing all kinds of other things. There's a bajillion other things that you should be doing. Anything in the religion that you did for you was selfish. Everything. They prided themselves so much on the soul sacrificing that anything that wasn't soul sacrificing was you being selfish. Think about how much we gave up, what things that we wouldn't do because it was also considered selfish. I remember being counseled about, having an extra ear piercing or something like that because it might offend somebody else, and that my personal preferences were selfish. That we don't dress the way that we might want to dress because we might offend somebody. So our personal preferences were being selfish. We didn't indulge in hobbies. We didn't take the time to, cultivate outside interests because anything that we did for ourselves was selfish. Again, that is cult manipulation right there. That is cult manipulation. So when we're talking about religious deprogramming, I'm not necessarily talking about doctrines with the religion itself. I'm talking about some of the beliefs that shaped our lifestyle. I coach a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and the amount of times this word comes up, I don't want to be selfish, I don't want to be selfish, I don't want to be selfish, is mind-blowing. I've coached people for 20 years, all different demographics, and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah's Witness, suffer from this shadow, this curse of being selfish more than any other demographic that I've ever seen. So we're going to talk about the definition of selfish. This is the definition of selfish, and we're going to go into what that actually means and how the cult abused that word for manipulation. So this is what selfish means. Selfish is a person that lacks consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit. Egotistic, egomaniacal, egocentric are some of the synonyms of the word selfish. Okay, so was sleeping in on a Saturday morning, was that self-centered and egotistical and egomaniacal? Do you see how they used that word as a knife to squeeze our soul out of us? Now, obviously, I'm not saying that we want to hurt other people, but your deprogramming from the cult is going to include eliminating this word for the most part from your vocabulary entirely for a lot of different reasons. What they're really saying is loving yourself is wrong. Think about that for a second. Anything that you do to love yourself is selfish. Ouch. When you hear it that way, doesn't that kind of make you feel like, ouch? Yeah, right? They encouraged us so much to put the needs of others. No, I'm going to take that back. Not the needs of others, the needs of the organization above your own sanity, your own mental health, your own physical well-being, your own pursuits, your own education. How is education selfish? How is mental health care selfish? You see how we need to deprogram this? Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a contrast here. Let me bring up my next slide. The opposite of what they were trying to get us to avoid was self-love. This is the definition of self-love. Self-love is about loving who you are, all of you, flaws, mistakes, and all. Self-love is not about arrogance or entitlement. It's about unconditional compassion. You see how this doesn't fit in with a cult narrative? If you love yourself, including your flaws and your mistakes, then, this whole you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're a sinner, you need to go do more, doesn't fit. But this is even if you still believe in the Bible, that doesn't even fit in with what the Bible says, because even the Bible says that God is love, right? He loved the world so much that he gave his son. Self-love and the embodiment of loving actually empowers you to help other people more. If you think about it, if you were to dedicate time to your mental health, to your emotional health, to your educational health, educational growth, instead of being selfish, wouldn't that actually empower you to share and love more, to actually do more? Okay, I've got another slide here I'm going to share with you. Self-love, paying attention to yourself and what matters most, your mind, your body, your soul, showing yourself you matter, that you are worthy and that you are beautiful, knowing that the only person you need to please is yourself. Okay, why is this healthy? Why is this healthy? We were encouraged so much to put other people, service, meetings, like literally everybody, so much more ahead of ourselves that our mind, body, and soul suffered. Do you know how many people suffer from depression within the religion? Yeah, hello. That's because they do not love themselves. They are not taking care of themselves. Knowing that the only person you need to please is yourself. Okay, let's think about that for a second. Knowing that the only person you need to please is yourself. Why is that not selfish? This is a concept that you have probably not explored if you're just coming out of the Jehovah's Witness religion, or any other cult for that matter. You cannot please somebody else. You cannot make somebody else happy. You cannot make somebody else feel good. That is in the people-pleasing category. I think there's a lot of ex-cult people who are massive, massive people pleasers. All right, how does that work? You're people-pleasing your little heart out. And how pleased are people? So the people that you're pleasing are totally fulfilled, completely whole. They're fantastic? No, actually, no, they're not. No matter how hard you try to please somebody else, it is impossible, because that is an emotion that we hold inside of us. And you can't force somebody to feel that. You probably will already recognize this, that is the reason why you try so hard and they're never happy. It's never enough. That's because no matter how much you give, please, 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 they're not activating that within themselves, which means that you are doing an impossible task. So as my slide says here, knowing that the only person you need to please is yourself, that is actually very healthy. What it's teaching us is emotional maturity. What it means is that we are responsible for happiness. We are responsible for our self-esteem. We are the ones that are responsible for our own mental and emotional health. When you are satisfied yourself, when you have excellent self-esteem, when you have love for yourself, that actually allows you to love others better. It's the complete opposite of selfish. Does that make sense? I hope so, because this is a concept that is vital for you to thrive now that you do not belong to a cult. In your anti-brainwashing training, I want to help you understand that this concept of selfishness was a manipulation tool that was used against us. You know, I am a life coach and I deal with a lot of trauma from a lot of people. Serious abuse, addiction issues, drug issues, alcohol issues, all kinds of the worst that you can possibly imagine. How in the world would I be able to handle all of that if I didn't exercise self-care? If I didn't take the time to love myself, to nurture myself, to indulge my hobbies, my painting, my garden, my animals, my horses, is that selfish? Actually, that's what fills my soul so that I have everything that I need to give to the people that need it. If I wasn't selfish, I would be an empty well. I would be an empty bathtub. You cannot take a bath in an empty bathtub. That's a weird metaphor. That just kind of popped up. But you can't give if you're empty on the inside. Our religion didn't teach us that. Our religion taught us just keep giving, just keep giving, just keep giving, just keep giving, and Jehovah will give you more, Jehovah will give you more. Well, Jehovah gave us brains to take care of ourselves. So this concept of being selfish, please, please, please delete that word. Delete that word. If you are a mother that is killing yourself for your family and you don't take any time to meditate, to read a book, to exercise, to go for a walk, to recharge your soul and to recharge your brain, if you don't do that, you are sacrificing your family. You are not giving them the fullest of you. You are not giving them the wellspring. By loving yourself, that is how we love other people. That is how we help our families. That is the whole goal of life. And remember this concept of pleasing ourselves. Well, we don't have a paradise to look forward to. Life is about being fulfilled. Life is about enjoyment. Life is about beauty. Life is about laughter. Okay, so I would like you to please leave a comment, please, in the YouTube comment section so that the algorithm can love my little channel and share these videos with more people. And also, I'm going to promote my new channel, Manifesting Minds, where I talk a lot about creating a new future. That one is not cult specific. That is a little bit more for everybody, and it's a little bit more about how to create your own life. And I'd like to remind people too, when you create this beautiful life for yourself, there is a trickle effect that happens to other people. When you don't take care of yourself because you're constantly giving, you're probably grumpier. You're probably worn out. You have no energy. And that's a sucky way to live. It's a sucky way for you to live, and it's an equally sucky way for your family members to have to deal with you. So please be selfish. Please do something this week that puts you first. And then try to make that a habit, because that is the emotional repair, that is the deprogramming that will lead you to being successful in this life, in the world. Okay. Video topics, please, in the comments, give me some topics that you would like me to cover, and I will make a video just for you. Okay. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon.